So I did a keynote this morning and it is a bit difficult to summarize it. I have 7 trends for how AI is impacting our way of working. And to be honest, I don't even know the 7 trends off the top of my head. That's why I have slides. But to give you some examples, I think AI is causing a shift from specialization to generalization. Right at this time, we have narrow AI and generative AI, and those are specialist tools that can do certain things very well, like writing a text or creating an image or things like that. And that means that people who were good at writing text or making images have a bit of a problem now. They see AI invading their territory, and it happens with a lot of specialists, actually, whether it is bookkeepers or cartoonists or whatever. So the result is that we need to understand what is it that is our value add as human beings, and that is actually connecting the dots or being a more generalist across multiple disciplines. So there's a shift back actually. We already went from generalist to specialist a couple of years ago. We always told people be T-skilled. T-skilled people be a specialist first with some interest going broad, and now we talk about M-skilled people, that is people who have interest in multiple disciplines and can connect the dots between those. So that is one example of the impact of AI. Another example is, there are some things that machines, artificial intelligence can do very well, which is decision making, coordination, working with information, intelligence. That's what the idea of intelligence is about. And I think the ones who will suffer from that quite a lot are middle managers, because it is their job to make decisions in a large enterprise in the middle layers of the organization, to do coordination and so on. There's very little work that requires rolling up your sleeves and do tangible, tactile stuff with your hands or whatnot. And they need to scratch their heads and wonder what is it that we can still offer. They need to focus more on the social angle, the emotional angle, be the servant leader, govern and lead instead of manage. And it can very well be that we can do that with far fewer managers than we did before. There are actually examples of companies such as Hire, I mention them very often, that fired basically the entire middle management layer and replace them with platforms, information where the intrapreneurs in the organization could communicate with each other, could contract with each other, assisted by machines and intelligence that is all digital and artificial. And I think we will see more of that. So those are just 2 examples of, out of the 7 that I mentioned in my keynote. Yeah, so I, as a public speaker and as a creative, I have to reinvent myself because, as some people say, AI will not take your job. It is someone with experience in AI who will take your job. So better make sure that you get experience in these tools because the bar is being raised for everyone. And that means that I have been exploring. I have been working with ChatGPT on a daily basis. Actually, the last couple of weeks, I have used Midjourney for creating images for my slides. I used to spend a lot of time making slides. I enjoy that because I'm a creative, so I could spend 10, 15 minutes finding the perfect photo that would then emphasize the point that I wanted to make on a slide. And now I can ask Midjourney to create an image instead of finding standard stock photography. And it takes 1 minute instead of 15. So things change there. And the last one, I call it affectionately DigiMe, that is actually uh, uh, video generated based on my own voice and movements and face and so on. It is very creepy that this is possible, that you can simply feed a tool a script and you see a digital version of you talking as if it is you. It is not exactly the same. People who know me can see that this is not really me, but it looks very, very realistic. And that is interesting. I need to learn how to use these tools because we're going in that direction. And also, I need to learn if these tools can take over these jobs for me, like making my slides takes less work now for me, then what else do I need to focus on? And for example, as a public speaker, I need to focus more on the social and the emotional angle because that is going to be the value add for the audience. They like having a chat with me after the speech. They like having a signature in a book, things like that. That is something an AI cannot do yet at this point. Because if we only focus on the appearance on stage and telling a story, we could send a hologram probably within a couple of years that will just be a fake representation of me with my voice and my face, and I can sit at home drinking my drinking my coffee. But that hologram will not be able to have a chat afterwards with one particular uh, uh, group of entities, or sign books, or drink a coffee or things like that. So the shift is important. How is my job changing because of AI? And I wanted to make the point that everyone needs to think about this. As Ken Beck, one of the signatories of the Agile Manifesto, said, after working with ChatGPT, I realized that 90% of my work has become valueless. The value is zero. But the last 10%, the value of that part has gone up 1,000 times. So that's what you now need to focus on as a human. Let the machines do their thing, use that, because everyone else will be doing too. Uh, and focus on the social, the emotional, the tactile things that machines cannot take over at this point yet. So when I began with the unFIXcon model 2 years ago, I did not yet envision the impact that AI would have on our ways of working, because the popularity of ChatGPT and the other tools came a year later. Um, but things are aligned pretty well, because I can see that quite a few patterns or pattern sets in the unFIXcon library at least can help people figure out their new ways of working, their new roles, a shift in what the organization should care about. And that was the whole point of the unFIXcon model, because we started with the unFIXcon model to help organizations be more flexible, to respond faster to changing environments. Whatever the reason, it could be an energy crisis, it could be a pandemic, it could be wars across the world, or it could be artificial intelligence, as it turns out now. But the conclusion is the same. Organizations and people need to be able to adapt faster and innovate faster to see the opportunities and respond to the risks. And I see AI as simply one of those external factors that simply put the pressure on for organizations. But I do see that it now may be the most important one at this moment. It is certainly something that CEOs and as executive teams worry about. In some circles, I hear the word panic when it comes to artificial intelligence. I see that as an opportunity for the unFIXcon model. We need to focus on that and then answer the question, how do our ways of working change because of AI, and how can we help people with patterns in the unFIXcon language to figure that out for themselves, what they should do instead, how they should reorganize to deal with this new technological wave. My concrete advice for people is just to start playing with the tools, because for me, I only started realizing what an effect this would have on me as a creative and as a speaker once I started dabbling with the tools and I figured out what kind of power is behind them. And you don't get that when you just read articles. Then it is easy to be skeptical, and think, well, it will apply to other people, but not to me because whatever reason. It is easy to stick your head in the sand if you do not have a concrete hands-on experience. But when you just try out a tool that creates a deep fake video of yourself and you look yourself as yourself talking, you think that looks very much like me, but it's not me, this is creepy. Then it starts hitting home that there is something going on that I need to figure out how that is, what kind of consequences this has for me. Well, if you listen closely, then you can understand then you can hear my Dutch accent, and then you know that this is the real me, because Digi me has a bit more of a British accent. That is how you can tell us apart. But maybe we will fix that problem. Make sure that Digime has a Dutch accent just as I have, so that it will be harder for people to figure out which one they are talking with. My last thing I want to share with everyone is always keep experimenting. That is what I've been saying for 15 years as a wrap up of anything that I do. I just try crazy shit and see what happens, and I learn a lot because of that. So that's what